My name is Emily Carter, and I never thought I would be writing this. But after what I saw during my near-death experience, I have no choice. On October 5th, 2023, my life changed forever. I was just driving home from work when a terrible accident sent me into the afterlife. I was dead for 6 minutes and 42 seconds, but in that time, I saw something so profound that I cannot stay silent. Jesus revealed something shocking about black people, something that has been hidden for generations. What he showed me will challenge everything you thought you knew. It was supposed to be a normal day. I woke up, made my morning coffee, kissed my husband goodbye, and headed to work. I was a nurse at St. Luke's Hospital, working the night shift. It had been a busy day, but nothing unusual. Just the usual routine of caring for patients, checking vitals, and writing reports. By the time my shift ended, I was exhausted, but I was looking forward to getting home, taking a warm shower and curling up in bed. I got in my car, turned on the radio, and started my usual drive home. The streets were quiet, the sky was dark, and the rain had just started to fall. Everything felt normal until it didn't. I was just 5 minutes away from home when I saw the blinding headlights coming toward me. My heart jumped into my throat as I realized the other car was swerving out of control. I slammed on my brakes, but it was too late. The impact was instantaneous, a loud, crushing force that sent my car spinning off the road. I didn't even have time to scream. Then everything went silent. I expected pain, panic, fear, but there was nothing. Instead, I felt an overwhelming peace, as if all the noise and chaos of the world had been muted. I looked around, confused. My body was still in the driver's seat, but I was floating above it, watching everything from a distance. That was when I realized I was dead. At first, I couldn't comprehend what was happening. I tried to move, but I wasn't inside my body anymore. I could see the wreckage below, the shattered windshield, the twisted metal. The paramedics had arrived, their flashlights cutting through the darkness as they rushed to save me. I wanted to tell them I was okay, that I didn't feel any pain, but my voice wouldn't come out. Then suddenly a bright light filled my vision. It wasn't the flashing red and blue of the emergency vehicles. This was something else, warm, pure, alive. The next moment I felt myself being lifted upward, as if an invisible hand was pulling me towards something greater. I wasn't afraid. If anything, I felt calm, a peace deeper than anything I had ever known. The world below faded, and in its place was something unbelievable. I found myself standing in a place that words cannot fully describe. It wasn't just a bright tunnel. It was like standing in the middle of a light that came from everywhere and nowhere at once. The air hummed with a sense of love, warmth, and truth. That's when I heard it, a voice, powerful yet gentle, strong yet filled with love. "Emily, do not be afraid." I turned, and there he was, Jesus. The moment I saw him, I knew. There was no doubt in my mind. Even though my eyes had never seen him before, my soul recognized him instantly. Jesus stood before me, radiating light and love, his presence so overwhelming that I fell to my knees without even thinking. He wasn't like any image or painting I had ever seen. His eyes carried infinite wisdom yet tender kindness, and his voice wrapped around my heart like a comforting embrace. "Rise, my child," he said, reaching out his hand. As soon as his fingers touched mine, I felt a rush of energy unlike anything on earth. It wasn't just warmth, it was pure life, flowing through every part of me. Every fear, every doubt, every worry vanished in an instant. "I have something to show you," he said, "a truth that has been hidden." Suddenly we were somewhere else. It wasn't heaven, but it wasn't earth either. It was as if I was standing in the middle of time itself, watching history unfold. Images flashed before my eyes, scenes from different eras, different places, different people. I saw civilizations rise and fall, kings and empires, struggles and victories. But then the images stopped, and what I saw next shook me to my core. Jesus turned to me, his expression serious yet full of love. "Emily, you must see what has been kept from the world. You must know the truth about my people." The air around us shimmered, and suddenly we were standing in a vast city, but not one I had ever seen before. It was ancient yet untouched, glowing with golden light, filled with wisdom and knowledge beyond human understanding. "This is what was lost," Jesus said. "I saw people, black men and women, clothed in royal garments, walking with grace, dignity and power. They weren't slaves. They weren't broken. They were leaders, scholars, warriors and priests. They were my chosen ones," Jesus said. "But the world rewrote their history. They were told they were nothing when, in truth, they were everything." Tears filled my eyes. I had never been taught this before. I had never seen black history beyond pain and suffering. But Jesus was showing me something completely different. I saw their wisdom, advanced knowledge of science, medicine, and the stars. I saw their strength, not just physical but spiritual, unbreakable, unshakable faith. But then the vision shifted. I saw chains. I saw lies being spread, entire generations being told they were inferior, unworthy, forgotten. The enemy feared them, so he rewrote history. He erased their greatness. Jesus' voice was filled with sadness and authority. But the time is coming when the truth will be revealed. The awakening has begun. At that moment, I understood. I had to share this message. Everything was about to change. Jesus turned to me with gentle but serious eyes. The vision before us shifted, and suddenly I was no longer in the heavenly realm. I was standing in a vast land, rich and thriving, filled with black men and women who carried an undeniable strength and wisdom. "Do you see them, Emily?" Jesus asked. I looked closer. These were not slaves, not victims. These were leaders, healers, warriors, and scholars. They walked with a divine authority, a spiritual strength that radiated from within them. Their skin glowed with a golden hue, as if it carried the very essence of creation itself. Jesus' voice broke through my thoughts. They were my chosen ones, set apart for a purpose. But the world was made to forget. The enemy feared them, so he stole their history, erased their identity, and filled their minds with lies. I felt a deep ache in my chest. I had never been taught this before. Suddenly the vision changed. I saw these same people, but now they were in chains. Their once proud faces were filled with sorrow. Their once mighty voices were silenced. I saw whips tearing through their skin, their homes burned to the ground, their children ripped from their arms. This was not just about slavery, Emily. This was about spiritual warfare. This was about breaking their connection to me. Tears streamed down my face. Why had no one told me this? Jesus placed his hand on my shoulder, his touch full of love and urgency. But the time of awakening has come. The vision shifted again. I saw a massive crowd of black men and women standing tall, their hands raised to the heavens. The chains that once bound them were shattered, and their voices rang out in powerful praise. Jesus' voice echoed around me. They were given a unique gift, an unshakable faith, a strength that could withstand the greatest storms. That is why the enemy fought so hard to silence them. I watched as history unfolded before me, from the plantations to the civil rights marches, from the pulpits of churches to the streets where they cried out for justice. Do you see, Emily? They have always carried my voice. They have always been my warriors. I saw how they turned pain into power, how they held on to hope when the world told them to give up. Even when their families were broken apart, when their voices were ignored, when they were told they were nothing, they never stopped seeking God. That faith is not by accident. It was placed in them before they were even born. That is why they are tested so much, why they are attacked, why they are made to feel small. The enemy fears them. I saw young black children, so full of joy and promise, but the world told them they were dangerous, unworthy, not enough. Jesus' eyes filled with sorrow. But I say they are mine, and I will restore them. I felt a power rush through my soul, like the world itself was shifting. The vision darkened. I saw a world filled with deception, movies, music, media, all shaping a false reality. I saw how entire systems were built to keep black people from realizing their divine identity. Emily, do you see how the enemy works? He doesn't just use chains anymore, he uses the mind. I saw black men being portrayed as violent criminals in the media. I saw black women being over-sexualized, their dignity stripped away. I saw how schools failed to teach their true history, how churches silenced their spiritual leadership, how entire governments work to keep them struggling. They are told they are less than, that they will never rise, that they are not worthy of greatness. My hands clenched into fists. How could this be happening? How could an entire people be kept from knowing their worth? Then Jesus whispered something that sent chills down my spine. Because when they wake up, when they remember who they truly are, the world will never be the same. The enemy wasn't afraid of their pain. He was afraid of their power. He was afraid that they would realize they were never meant to be slaves, but kings, priests and warriors in God's kingdom. I saw generations of black children being fed lies, being told they had no future, no voice, no value. And then I saw something even worse. I saw churches turning their backs on them. I saw pastors ignoring their suffering, telling them to be quiet, to forgive, to move on, without ever acknowledging the pain. The enemy has infiltrated even my house, Emily, but I am calling my people back. The vision brightened again. I saw black men and women standing in the streets, in churches, in homes, raising their voices in unshakable faith. They were not angry, they were awakened. They weren't asking for permission, they were walking in their divine authority. Jesus turned to me, his eyes filled with pride and love. They have endured every hardship, every deception, every attack, and yet they still seek me. That is their power. That is why they cannot be broken. I saw them preaching, leading, healing, teaching. I saw them returning to their spiritual roots, embracing the gifts God had placed inside them. I saw a revival, one that was not led by governments, celebrities or politicians. It was led by the very people the world had tried to silence. The first shall be last, and the last shall be first, Jesus said. It all made sense now. The entire world had tried to erase their history, their identity, their power, but they could never erase who they were created to be. Jesus looked at me, his face filled with love and certainty. Emily, they will rise, and when they do, the world will know that I have always been with them. I felt my entire soul tremble. Something was coming, and nothing would stop it. The vision shifted again. I saw black men and women standing on mountains, looking up at the sky, their hands raised in prayer. The air around them crackled with divine energy, as if the very heavens were responding to their voices. Jesus stood beside me, his expression filled with deep reverence. Emily, The connection between my people and the divine has never been broken. It has only been hidden. I suddenly saw ancient scrolls, tablets, and sacred texts, some crumbling with age, others sealed away, forgotten by the world. These were the records of my truth, kept by my chosen ones before the enemy scattered them across the earth. I gasped. I had never been taught this before. These people were more than just history. They were part of a divine prophecy. Long ago, they were given wisdom, knowledge, and power beyond what the world understands. But that knowledge was stolen, corrupted, and buried beneath generations of lies. The images before me changed. I saw the pyramids, the great libraries, the ancient lands that once thrived with knowledge that had now been erased. The world will tell them they came from nothing, but I tell them they came from greatness. Jesus' voice shook the very ground beneath me. They are awakening, and the world will not be able to stop it. The sky above me burst with light as I was pulled into another vision. I saw black men and women all over the world suddenly remembering something they had long forgotten. Some of them were sitting in churches when a fire lit within them. Others were reading scripture, and suddenly the words jumped off the page with new meaning. Emily, the Great Awakening has begun. I saw a massive revival, but this was unlike any I had ever seen. It wasn't led by mega churches or celebrity preachers. It was led by ordinary people, black men, women, and even children, standing up in their homes, in the streets, and declaring the truth. I saw ancestors' prayers being answered, their sacrifices coming full circle, Jesus' eyes filled with fire. The world has tried to silence them, but now they will speak. As I watched, governments, media, and even some churches tried to suppress them, but they couldn't stop what was happening. No force on earth can stop what I have ordained, Jesus declared. Then I saw something terrifying, the enemy launching one final attack, trying to deceive and distract them with entertainment, money, false promises, and division. But I also saw something greater. Those who stayed firm in their faith, who refused to fall for the deception, becoming unstoppable. Jesus looked at me, his voice filled with certainty. Tell them to prepare. I saw generations of struggles flash before me. Slavery, segregation, injustice, violence, discrimination. But I also saw something deeper. Emily, the trials they have faced were not just physical, they were spiritual. I watched as the enemy tried to break them through oppression, poverty, and systemic lies. But instead of destroying them, these hardships only made them stronger. They have been tested in the fire, but they have not been consumed, Jesus said. I saw black children in schools being told lies about their history, their identity, their worth. I saw black families struggling against forces designed to keep them divided and weak. I saw how even the church had turned against them at times, telling them to be silent instead of standing in the truth. The world will tell them they are cursed, that their struggles are a punishment, but I tell them they are blessed. Their trials have refined them, not destroyed them. The vision shifted again. I saw black people gathering in faith, despite all they had faced. They praised even in struggle. They worshipped even in pain. They believed even when the world told them not to. Do you see, Emily? They have never stopped seeking me. And because of that, I have never left them. I turned to Jesus, tears streaming down my face. Lord, what should I tell them? How can I help? Jesus' eyes were filled with love, strength, and deep sadness. Tell them the truth. Tell them that I see them, that I have always seen them. I saw angels surrounding black communities, standing guard, protecting, guiding. I saw miracles happening, prayers being answered, families being restored, children finding their purpose. The time of restoration is here. I saw businesses thriving, families healing, faith growing stronger than ever. But they must remain vigilant, Emily. The enemy will try one last time to deceive them, to make them believe they are still broken, that they still have no power. I saw false prophets rising, false movements trying to lead them astray, trying to keep them bound in division and self-destruction. Tell them not to fall for it. Tell them to look to me and not the world. Jesus' voice was so full of power that it shook my soul. Tell them that I am coming. Tell them that they are not forgotten. Tell them that their season of suffering is coming to an end. I saw a new world unfolding, a future where they were no longer held back, where their faith became the light that led others. Tell them that they are my beloved, that their story is not over, that they are chosen. As I stood beside Jesus, the vision shifted once more. This time, I was looking at the world in the near future, and what I saw took my breath away. "Look closely, Emily," Jesus said. I saw a massive shift happening. The people who had been told they were powerless were now standing strong, unshaken, fearless. Black men and women were rising up, not with weapons, but with faith, wisdom, and divine authority. They were no longer waiting for permission from the world. They were walking in their calling. I saw leaders emerging, not from governments, but from the streets, from the churches, from homes where prayers had never stopped. They were not seeking fame or fortune, they were seeking truth. The enemy tried to bury them, but he did not realize they were seeds, Jesus said. And then I saw something that made my heart tremble, a final attempt by darkness to stop this awakening. The enemy was unleashing new deceptions, new distractions, new ways to keep them from seeing the truth. I saw technology being used to control, entertainment designed to numb, and even some churches becoming agents of deception. But my people will see through it, Jesus said, because I will open their eyes. And I saw it happening. Miracles breaking out in places the world had forgotten. Chains of addiction, depression, and poverty falling away. Families reuniting, faith being restored. People turning away from the world and back to God. It was unlike anything I had ever seen. The first shall be last, and the last shall be first, Jesus said again. And I knew this was only the beginning. I turned to Jesus, my heart pounding with urgency. Lord, I don't want to leave. There's still so much I need to know. Jesus looked at me with a love so deep it felt like the universe itself could not contain it. Emily, you have seen enough. Now you must return. I shook my head, tears streaming down my face. But how will I make people believe me? How will they understand what you have shown me? Jesus smiled, his voice filled with peace and authority. Your job is not to convince, Emily. Your job is to tell. Those who have ears to hear will hear. Those who are meant to wake up will wake up. Suddenly, I felt a pulling sensation. The light around me began to fade. I reached out for Jesus, but he was already stepping back into the radiance. Remember, Emily, the time is short. Share what you have seen, and do not be afraid. The next moment, I gasped for air, my body jerking violently as I opened my eyes. I was back. I was lying in a hospital bed, surrounded by machines, the sound of beeping filling my ears. Nurses and doctors rushed around me, shocked that I had come back. But I knew. I had been sent back for a reason, and nothing would ever be the same again. I am sharing this because Jesus made it clear. This message is urgent. If you are reading this, it is not by accident. The deception is already in motion, Jesus told me. The world will try to make you forget who you are, but I am calling my people back to me. So I am telling you now, Wake up. Do not believe the lies that tell you that you are less than. Do not accept the systems that keep you bound. Do not let the distractions of the world pull you away from God. The awakening is here, and you have a choice. Those who seek me will find me. Those who listen will hear. Those who walk in truth will be protected. Jesus showed me that things are going to change rapidly. The systems of the world will try to tighten their grip. Technology, entertainment, government, even some churches will push the enemy's agenda without realizing it. They will call deception progress. They will call control safety. They will call submission wisdom. But my people will know the truth. I saw that those who stay faithful, who refuse to bow to the world's deception, will be protected in supernatural ways. Jesus will provide. He will make a way, just like he always has. Emily, tell them not to fear. Tell them that I have already won. So I am telling you, stay strong, stay awake, hold on to Jesus, because he is holding on to you. The time is short, but those who walk in truth will never be deceived. May God give you eyes to see and ears to hear. This is my testimony. Now it's your turn to share it. As I stood with Jesus, watching the vision unfold before me, I saw something that made my heart tremble. The enemy wasn't giving up. Emily, the greatest deception is still to come, Jesus said. The world around me shifted, and I saw media screens, social media feeds, churches, schools, and even homes, all filled with one unified message. You don't need God anymore. I saw governments promoting a new way of life, one that promised freedom, equality, and progress, but at the cost of spiritual truth. I saw churches twisting scripture, telling people that sin no longer existed, that everyone was their own God, that faith was just a myth from the past. I saw entertainment designed to distract, music created to numb, technology made to control. The enemy will not come with chains this time. He will come with comfort. The vision zoomed in on black communities, and I saw how the enemy had used systems, culture, and even spiritual leaders to keep them from realizing their power. Schools erased their true history. The justice system kept them bound in cycles of pain. Music and entertainment kept them distracted. Social movements manipulated them, using their struggle for personal gain. They are waking up, and the enemy is terrified, so he will use every tool he has left to keep them from knowing the truth. And then I saw the final deception. A new system was being introduced, one that rewarded obedience and punished faith. I saw black people being told to conform, to comply, to accept this new world order. Those who refused were shut out, silenced, shamed, and persecuted. I saw pastors and leaders who once stood for truth bowing down, embracing this deception in the name of unity. They will say it is for peace, that it is for the good of all. But I tell you, it is a lie. Jesus looked at me, his eyes filled with fire and sorrow. Tell them not to fall for it. Tell them to stand firm. I saw a great divide happening, those who chose comfort and deception, and those who chose truth and faith. Those who stood firm in their faith were cast out, losing jobs, homes, friends. But I saw something incredible. God provided for them in supernatural ways. I will be with them, Emily. I will not abandon my people. The enemy was working overtime, but it was too late. The awakening had already begun. I turned to Jesus, my heart pounding with urgency. Lord, what else can I do? How do I prepare? How do I warn them? Jesus looked at me, his voice gentle but firm. Emily, you do not need to fight this battle alone. My spirit will move through those who seek me. Your job is to speak. My job is to awaken their hearts. Suddenly, I saw a new wave of people rising up, black men and women stepping into their divine purpose with power and confidence. I saw prophets speaking boldly, families being restored, young people rejecting the lies and seeking God's truth. I saw miracles breaking out, food multiplying, bodies being healed, entire cities falling into revival. Tell them to prepare. The time is short. How, Lord? What should they do? I asked. Jesus looked at me with deep love and certainty. Tell them to seek me like never before. Read the word daily, not just what preachers say, but what I say. Pray with sincerity. Ask me to open their spiritual eyes. Reject deception. Question everything they see, hear, and are told. Unite with other believers. Support and protect one another. Teach their children truth before the world tries to teach them lies. Emily, I am coming soon. The battle is intensifying, but my victory has already been written. I felt a deep pulling sensation, the same one I had felt when I first left my body. Wait, Lord. There's still so much I want to ask. Jesus smiled, his eyes filled with love beyond words. What I have shown you is enough. Those who have ears to hear will hear. Now go, speak boldly. Do not be afraid. I am with you. Suddenly, I felt myself being pulled backward at full force. The light around me faded. The warmth of Jesus' presence disappeared, and before I knew it, I gasped for air. I was back in my hospital bed, surrounded by doctors and nurses, my family crying by my side. I had returned, but I knew I had been sent back for a reason, and nothing would ever be the same again. As I lay in my hospital bed, struggling to catch my breath, the weight of what I had seen crushed me. The visions, the words of Jesus, the warnings, it was all too much to keep inside. But then I heard his voice again, not audibly, but deep within my spirit. Emily, do not stay silent. A shiver ran through my body. I closed my eyes, and for a brief moment I could still feel the warmth of his presence, the fire in his voice, the urgency in his message. This was not just for me. It was for everyone willing to listen. The world is not ready, but the people must be. I knew the moment I spoke about this, many would dismiss it. Some would say it was just a dream, just my imagination. Others would claim I was being dramatic, that nothing was really happening. And worst of all, some Christians would choose to ignore it, believing that everything was fine. But I had seen too much to stay quiet. Emily, the time of choosing has come. I saw the world splitting into two, those who would cling to the truth and those who would embrace the deception. Some would wake up, step into their purpose, and refuse to bow to lies. Others would willingly accept the enemy's plan, blind to what was coming. And I understood. This wasn't just a warning about the future. It was already happening, right now.